All right. Playing some 100 NL regular tables. Tagging this person as a fish just because they posted here and then just flatted the cutoff. We can always remove the tag later if we feel we need to, but that's my default. Now we see they've limped, so definitely a fish. Seen some really large ISO sizings on this table. Here on this table with the fish on the button and in the big blind, we're just gonna flat sevens. Gonna start out with a bet here in position. I think we'll just go 50%, which is pretty good for a multi-way. Going to be a lot of club draws, a lot of straight draws. Um, Here we're going to continue. I think when they click call so quickly, we can expect them to not have a four very often. Versus the three bet with nines, definitely going to call in position and see a flop. On king eight six with nines versus one third. Can't fold yet. Can definitely be ahead of hands like ace queen, ace jack, ace 10, hands like that. Versus check. just going to be playing a third here on the turn. Can still get value from some heart type hands. And then we'll look to check back rivers here. We're going to call here with our suited king. Just checking the ace turn, not going to be betting this turn multi-way very often. Against this size, I think we can go ahead and just call, and we'll probably have to lead spade rivers. One thing about poker is just that it teaches you to stay humble. When you think that you've got some stuff figured out, poker has a way of proving to you that you don't, especially when you're just in the learning phases like I am. And, I'm not a professional. I play this game for fun because it interests me and I find it, kind of an endless rabbit hole to go down should you choose to. So for me, poker is just a really great way to satisfy my curiosity, and there's a lot of life lessons in it as well. Just going to check our suited queen here. Here we're going to put in the ISO. Really tempted to squeeze here, given this formation and that I've seen this person squeeze some ISO some limpers, but I think it's just a little too weak out of the small blind to want to do that just yet. Certainly would be squeezing ace queen, ace king, king queen suited, any suited Broadway. I would go ahead and put the squeeze in. Here we'll just check our king seven in the big blind. Flop top pair, middle kicker, checking my whole range out of position. Here, I think I still want to continue checking. Um, you could, make an argument for putting a bet in here, but I don't think you need to. I think I'd rather let them bluff. They're a fish starting with less than 100 big blinds, so they're going to be overstabbing. Here on the river, once they check back twice, we're definitely going to put in a value bet. Um, Raising 3x with the fish in the button and the big blind here. And they called with a pair of eights on in this hand here. Again, seeing some really large ISO sizing from this player and noticing that they are ISOing often over limps. So I'm looking for opportunities to go ahead and three bet them. Going to be opening the king 10 suited. On 769, not going to be doing any betting really, especially with this hand. Um, Board definitely advantages my opponent more than it does me. So we will go ahead and check this one back. Once they've checked twice, I think there is some value in just going ahead and betting here. Um, don't think we want to take a polarized sizing. I think we just want to keep our betting standard in terms of being able to bet a wider range for a smaller size. Again, seeing another ISO here and for a different size than before. Just wanted to pay attention to those types of things, try to find out what does it mean. Look for showdown type hands and see if you see anything that's worth exploring or understanding about this player's strategy. Those things are super crucial. Here, going to call the king 3 suited, flopping bottom pair, backdoor flush draw. Um, I think to this sizing, I will go ahead and put in a check raise. Um, when they're range betting on boards that I don't think are necessarily good for range betting, I think it is good to protect your hand a little bit and get some value versus some diamond type hands, some overcards, things like that. And we can always use this hand as a good check raise check type of candidate. Once this player bets, calls, and then bets again on the ace, I think our likelihood that our hand is good is very low. So we'll go ahead and just let this one go. I always like to mark hands like that for review later. Opening up the queens and the low jack. Going to be checking my entire range out of position here. Think white belts tend to stab too wide. Once we get the snack check back, I do think we will start betting here. There's plenty that we can get action from. Draws, pair plus draws. Flushes, some overcard type hands. Here on ace three ace, you're gonna start out with a bet. Checking my whole range again. Again, once they check back, I think this time we're just going to go ahead and check and see if we can get them to stab. Once they don't stab turn, I think we will go ahead and bet river. Just go 90% pot, hope to target a hand like Jack X, 9X, hands like that. I think river raises from fish are pretty under bluffed. Don't really know what I expect them to show up with here. Um, checking back flop and checking turn. Maybe a hand like ace four, 4-5. Don't really know what their bluffs are. I don't think that fish are going to turn pairs into bluffs very often. So while it might seem kind of nitty on the surface here, we'll just go ahead and fold this one. I just think whatever they have, it's much more weighted towards value. And, I took a pretty large sizing on the river. So when they raise that size, it's rarely a bluff. So we'll go ahead and put this one in and check it another time for what did they have. Checking our whole range here, out of position. Checking again here on the turn. And here on the river, just going to put in I'm wondering if on this river we're going to get looked up light by like an ace X type hand. I think we'll just put in a small bet to try to fold out Queen X here. Okay, so we get called by a 7. That's reasonable. Like they're supposed to call with that type of hand. If they don't, hit with their queen there, do we think they're going to call? Probably not with queen high. But I like the sizing I chose because, that's the type of hand I'm targeting. It's just like a hand very slightly better than mine. Think it would be a mistake to size up there. I don't think we're really credibly repping a whole lot. Over here in this last hand, I folded sixes, and the reason that I did that was because this person min raised this player, this white belt min raised. This person clicked it to another min raise, And I didn't want to get involved with the chance that this player would just go ahead and jam. And I think there is a somewhat likely chance that they do because this player started fairly short. They only had 15 big blinds. I did see that I flopped a set, but I still like my play. Here we have another chance. Start out small with a third. And once they check raise, no um, reason to push out their bluffs here. I think if they have a straight draw and they get there, we're still getting all the money in. It's fine. So we'll just call. They have 7-9. It's fine. Well, here we'll just check our queen nine high, flop an open ender, checking range. Here, I'm not going to be doing a lot of betting here. This hand, we're going to check raise here. So we're just going to check back here, and we're going to raise here with our showdown value. And on this river, I do think we can value bet. I don't think we're likely to get raised. I think we can get called hands like sixes, sevens, things like that. Here on this turn, blocking queen jack, blocking queen king. I want to go ahead. I think I want to start polarizing. So we're going to go for about 100% pot size bet, leaving about pot back on the river. Putting pressure on hands like Jack X, that's a poor Jack X. They just limped in, so they're not going to have usually hands like Ace Jack and things like that. Putting pressure on 10X, things like that. When this person doesn't have auto post of blinds on, I'm going to go ahead and assume that they're a fish until otherwise proven. It's pretty good 3-bet sizing, so let's see how they play. This is my maybe a fish tag. They have limped 13% of hands that they've played. And they have a pretty high VPIP PFR, but we've only seen 14 hands total. Flopping bottom set again, just checking my whole range here in the middle between two players. Here we're gonna squeeze. Here we'll start betting. Once we get min clicked here, it's a pretty dicey spot. We're not folding, but I don't think I want to put a bunch of money into this pot yet. Could still be ahead of some two pair type hands, uh, some flush draws, some pair plus draws. I think it's a pretty close spot, and usually when it's close, I will tend to just go ahead and call. Noticing that they min raised there with top pair. Here I folded this king queen mostly because I was in the middle of this hand and I'm talking at the same time. It's a little hard to focus at times. Um, yeah, so might have considered a squeeze, might have considered just flatting there to play with this white belt. I'd be three betting the jacks, of course. On 868, I think a lot of people would probably range bet a board like this. Don't know that we want to be range betting here. I think we do want to have some checkbacks. So I would be taking kind of a 50% or checkback strategy, and I think this hand fits well into our checkback strategy. Villain takes an extremely large size on this turn. I'm pretty positive that jacks are indifferent to this sizing on this board. I do think that it's nice that we unblock both of the flush draws that are available, but I think we have better hands to defend with hands with more dynamic equity that can, potentially river a flush or hands that block sets or block two pair or uh, things like that. So we'll go ahead and fold for this sizing, and we'll mark that one for a look later. Noticing again, another ISO. I honestly would consider employing a limp re-raise strategy versus this player when I'm out of position to them with a variety of holdings. You're gonna just overcall these threes. Nice to get an opportunity to play the hand like this multi-way. I don't know how he didn't flop bottom set again. That's ridiculous. You get used to something, and when you don't get it, it feels like somebody took something away. Here, just going to be checking again, trying to get the showdown. Here, we're going to put in the raise. I use ace-7 off as one of my 3-bet bluffs. On these monotone boards, just playing super, super defensively, not trying to bloat the pot. Here on King Jack 9, we have the ace for some backdoors, so I do think we'll go ahead and start out with a bet. I would typically play a 50% pot or check strategy here, and we'll go ahead and go with the 50%. Here, we'll just fold to a pot size bet. Leveraging our range advantage here. Haven't got to 3-bet a single hand in 60 hands here on this table. That's a travesty. Only one on this table, and we got 3 here, so that was nice. Just folding here, I think that the sizing this player took was too big, but really don't have a hand that I can do much about it with at this point. Versus a $4 ISO, I'm just gonna pitch the king 10. It doesn't play well multi-way, especially not in between two players. I think you could consider 3-betting versus a smaller ISO size, but I don't really know what this player is up to. I haven't played many hands with them yet, just one, so hard to say. This player employed the min click strategy again, the snap min click, which, if you remember the last time, was top pair, medium-ish kicker. Then they check back turn, typically indicating a not 2-pair plus type of hand. And then they go pot on the river. a turn two pair, but again, I don't know if you saw this player min clicked again their top pair hand. So that has so far been their MO. Raising 3x with fish in the small and the big blind. Again, another ISO. Going to be putting in the 3-bet. Snap fold. So small size, ISO equals snap fold. Here, we're going to defend the 6-5 off since it's a min raise. Flop decent. Tagging this player a fish. Here, just going to check. Here, we're going to be putting in the 3-bet. And here we'll value bet. Hoping to get called by ace high. Ooh. The limp re-raise versus the ISO and 3-bet. Not going to be calling with tens. This is definitely not a call for me. Don't know, what type of hands this person has, but I know I'm flipping at very best, and yeah, not going to be calling here. Unlucky that we ran into the limp re-raise, but it's not a big deal. We're happy with our play. Let's see what we got value against up here. In the last hand, we did get called by ace high, ace 10. If this player raises to 18 and folds to a min click, okay, they were just slow rolling him. Yeah, that's what you get for slow rolling them. Yeah, you deserve that for sure. Let that be a lesson of karma to any of you people watching. Slow rolling, bad sportsmanship. We're all out here just trying to play and have some good time. Unless you know the player you're in a hand with and you guys are okay with each other slow rolling one another, you should not be slow rolling your opponents. Going to call here, checking our range here. They take the large sizing. Here we're just going to check again. I know we have a combo draw, but I would rather check raise than check call, or check raise than bet into this range. I'm gonna go ahead and stab here, trying to just fold out some small pairs. And they checked back this turn, which is often indicative of weakness. Just fold here. This player is V-pipping wide, so I'm gonna go ahead and 3-bet them with the 7-8 in position. Get the cold 4-bet to 3x. I could go either way with this one. Unfortunately, I think the cold 4-bet range is just super, super tight and probably doesn't consist of like a lot of bluffs. Like hands like ace queen and things like that were in like reasonable shape versus in position. So we'll just go ahead and let this one go. Obviously not going to be calling here, but how cool would it be to have pocket jacks right now? This is like the first hand that this player is RFI'd. I would be terrified to three bet them, but apparently it was not a big deal at all. Oh, now they're gonna start min raising instead of limping. Gonna play for about 5 more minutes and then call it a day. This player ISO'd this player and then folded to a min raise. What is wrong with people? Versus the button 3-bet, going to be 4-betting ace queen. Oh, not versus a cold 4-bet though. Three seven deuce, just gonna start out with a third versus a white belt. And just winding down now. It's a good session. Won about 15 big blinds per 100, which is decent. Definitely happy with that. Of course, there's still a few hands left, so we don't want to count our chickens before they hatch. But happy with our play. If there's anything that you guys want me to talk about, feel free to take a screenshot of a hand or just ask a question when I post it. Um, Anything that you guys want to see me discuss in future videos or try to find spots over, feel free to ask. Happy to do what I can to help people out. Um, I think we all just, if you're watching this and you're watching some random person's 100 NL play and explain, I'm sure that you love poker just as much as I do, which makes me really happy. So I'm happy to help you out in any way, answer questions, whatever it is that is beneficial to you, just let me know. Ooh, awesome last hand here. This is gonna go. Okay, we get a flop. All right. Here, we're just gonna start out with a big bet. I think this is the type of board where they either have something that they're gonna call with or they don't. And we want to get max value here, not looking to be particularly balanced. Don't think that like sizing down gets called by a hand that sizing up doesn't in that spot. So happy to just take it down there. So thanks very much for your time and let me know if you have any questions.